Hey everyone, and welcome to Television from the Multiverse, the DC Comics TV podcast from Mail Fuzz TV. I am Peter, and I am joined as always over in the red corner by Connor.
Yes, I'm here again, still watching DC TV, all of it. Even Arrow.
That's good, because that's what we're going to be talking about.
I know. But even Arrow. I just wanted to point out even Arrow. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's the one I don't need confirmation on though, because that's the one I witnessed the drunk watching of Arrow. I was witness to that.
Yeah. I feel like it makes it more tolerable for you as well, though.
See, the weird thing is this week I felt like I'd forgotten all of it. I had to skim through the episode again just to remind myself what it was about. Just, like an hour ago, because I couldn't remember. And I wasn't drinking. I think it's a combination of just A, being tired when we watched it, B, listening to you while you're drunk, and C, just not being that into it. Like, all those combined.
I don't think I was quite as drunk this week, though.
No, it didn't hit all the drinking rules buttons. There wasn't a lot of...
It was all soft, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was no "Are you okays?" I think there was one son of a bitch, but there was
yeah.
no bloodlust, of course.
Nah, it's been a while for that. I'm not expecting that anytime soon.
And of course, one of the newer rules is anytime it's referenced that Felicity will make a good mother. That's one of the new rules.
Yeah, it was really disappointing for me this week, actually. I had to make up for it. I had the snowboarding from the Winter Olympics on the side, and I was drinking when they fell over. Just because I needed a drink for something.
I feel like that probably happened quite often.
Every 2 or 3 riders, yeah.
So if that wasn't enough of a clue, obviously we'll be talking about Arrow later on. But before we get to that, we'll get more important shows to talk about, like Supergirl, The Flash, Black Lightning, and then of course we're also working our way through Young Justice because the new season's coming at some point later this year. It might even be early 2019 at this point. I've heard conflicting rumours that it's been the service has been pushed to the start of 2019, but none of it makes much difference really. But
we'll get it when we get it.
Yeah, because I mean the scuttlebutt was at the end of the year, so I mean moving it to the start of next year is not really that much of a big deal. But
yeah.
So we're working through Young Justice, so we've got an episode of that as well. So that's what we're going to talk about as what we've been working our way through. Actually, next week's the first week that things will shake up a little bit, because I believe that Arrow is going on a break for two weeks, as well as, of course, Supergirl is now going off, and Legends of Tomorrow is replacing it for the next 8 weeks, will I say?
9?
9, no, it's 9, you're right, because there's 18 this year. For some reason, Legends has been up 1 episode each season. It's like this thing. By the time we get to like season 6, they'll actually be up to 22.
Yeah, they'll be up there with the proper shows.
Air quotes.
Yes. Yeah. But I couldn't be bothered to move my hands, and the audio people wouldn't have known if you hadn't said anything.
Well, that's why I was making it clear. This is good hosting. You make sure things are clearly communicated to the audience.
It was in the inflection.
Yeah, because someone who's watching or listening to this in New Zealand is hearing the inflection in your stupid English accent and going, I understood that.
They will, soon enough. They'll get used to it.
There wasn't really any news this week. I mean, Jeff Johns tweeted out a picture of a Titan script that mentioned that Doom Patrol was going to be in it. Honestly, the more exciting part for me is that Jeff Johns is writing episode 5 of a show. Like, it's not just episode 1. He's sticking around and writing more episodes, so that's kind of cool.
Exciting stuff.
That's cool. And of course, Doom Patrol showing up's fun too. How weird is it now we're at a point where we're getting live action versions of things like Doom Patrol? We said this a lot last season about having like Miss Martian on Supergirl and stuff.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's crazy.
Adam Strange is going to be on Krypton. Like, it's bizarre. All these C-listers and D-listers and...
They're becoming recognizable figures to many people.
Yeah.
I mean, assuming they stick around on their respective shows for enough. Doom Patrol not as much, maybe, but Adam Strange seems like he might be a regular.
Yeah. Certainly, someone like Miss Martian's been some animated shows, and now she's been in Supergirl a little bit. That's like that's 2 different sort of places where maybe some people now know about her, and that's kind of how you build. Although I have to wonder at what point now with so many shows between DC and Marvel that it almost doesn't matter anymore, because there's just too many that like
you can't keep track anymore.
Yeah, because there was a time when you started a superhero show and like the Flash, say, right, became a household name for everyone, right? Okay, when the Flash started in 2014, that makes sense, but But we're at a point now where there's like so many shows. Like, are people even bothering to pay attention now because it's not as big of an event? I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, it's a fair point.
I didn't mean to ponder a serious question like that at the start of the show. Just kind of.
I know. I thought we were going to start off lighter. Just ease ourselves in. But no. Jump in the deep end.
This was fairly light. I don't know. All right, okay. I'll give you a light question. When it comes to Supergirl outfits, do you prefer the 70s V-neck top, or do you enjoy the blue skirt look of the 2000s?
I'm more inclined to say the newer one, but in certain styles, the V-neck really works.
I'm not a fan of the V-neck. I think the 2000 one's okay. That said, though, I'd prefer a red skirt. Basically, what's on the show and in the comics right now is kind of what I prefer.
No, I agree. I think that's probably best.
Classic. I don't hate the white top, like, admittedly, but I still prefer classic style.
Yeah, the white top's all right, but it's very animated series, and I don't feel like it gets used anywhere else.
No,
Not much.
That's true. But hey, I mean, that is a really like stupid question, and you kind of took it really seriously and thought about it.
I mean, I'm gonna have an opinion, aren't I? That's like saying, it's like when I asked you about Superman's cape and where it should sit on his shoulders. You have an answer. You have a strong opinion about that. Exactly.
I have a stronger opinion about that than some people do about the death penalty.
Do you know what the scary thing is? I think that might be true.
It probably is. Anyway, so we'll start talking about shows there, I suppose, shall we? Starting with Supergirl, because that's what airs first. So it's the last Supergirl we're going to have for about 9 weeks or so. And, we'll be back, I think it's late April? No, it's late April.
Must be like last week or April, give or take.
Yeah, something in there. So that's when we'll have it back. So this is effectively a... What do I call this? It's not a mid... Because the mid-season finale was before Christmas.
But this plays like a mid-season finale, doesn't it?
I think the other one did more, though, because I feel like the cliffhanger at the end of the last one before Christmas was much more of a big thing, whereas this is like... It's got a bit of a cliffhanger, but it's definitely...
No, I agree.
More of a small break cliffhanger. Although, funnily enough, this gap is much bigger than the Christmas one.
Yeah.
Because the previous gap was like 4 or 5 weeks. This is like 9. So,
No, it's true. This is significant delay, this.
Yeah, but hey, so it's called Both Sides now. Obviously, it's season 3, episode 13. And of course, we found out at the end of the last episode, or the team found out about the world killer, who we found out is called Purity. Or was it Julia? Was her human name?
Yes, I think that seems about right.
But yeah, Purity. So they go to your house. I actually really like the opening shot.
It just starts, doesn't it?
It just starts, and Supergirl comes swooping in and like lands, and then like there's team coming in as well, and it's okay.
I feel like it's rare we start with like such a set piece like that.
Yeah, and it even wants to get in the house, and Alex is just quick to assume she's being dangerous because we know, of course, because we've been seeing Sam do this, where she's like human and then she turns into
switches. Yeah.
Whereas Alex just thinks she's bluffing so that she can strike and Supergirl.
Reasonable assumption at that point.
And then she does kind of change and like the action kicks off and. This world killer basically has a black canary's cry style power on top of, I assume, strength and
I would assume so,
maybe flight. But we get some freeze breath action, and but ultimately Jean becomes really handy. He actually phases through the ice to go and handcuff her with the dampening cuffs.
It's cool.
So, but a lot of the episode, she's captured in the cell, which obviously dampens her powers, and it becomes kind of this debate, which I actually kind of enjoyed because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do think Alex is, like, her antagonistic viewpoint here is a little bit forced.
It's the wrong person to have this debate with.
Yeah, who do you think would be better for it?
It's a good question. I don't know. I don't think they necessarily have someone set up to have that mindset, which tells me maybe one of the members of the Legion would have been the best choice, because you can kind of establish them as having that viewpoint, whereas Alex has never been like this, so it feels out of character.
It does to a point. They try, obviously, they try and justify it by saying that this is leftover Maggie feelings.
That's a lot of bullshit, frankly.
I don't feel anywhere nearly as strongly about this, but
No,
sure.
I feel like that reasoning actually annoyed me even more because she's been moving on, she's been fine. You know, the odd little thing here or there, like we had with Ruby a week or two ago, but this was just completely over the top.
That said, though, like I say, I actually enjoyed the debate for the most part, not because Alex's stance on it, but because what it meant Supergirl's stance was on it. I liked her trying to, because again, it's the idea of compassion, the idea of healing people, rehabilitating people, finding the human in there. Supergirl, like, the difference between her talking to her and then Alex trying to talk to her was actually really enjoyable, I thought, in the actual
I think
interrogations.
it's strange because I enjoy half it. Like I said, I do really enjoy Supergirl's half and what that is, because that works. But all the Alex stuff just feels so off that it kind of, I'm switching in and out of how much I enjoy it.
I mean, I agree it was forced. I mean, that stuck out to me. But after like a scene of it, I was just kind of, okay, fine, we're doing this, and then I just kind of went with it, and I didn't really care.
Yeah, I never accepted it.
But it was fine. But no, ultimately, we did get the scene, of course, of Alex kind of like noticing that maybe there is some human in there, and obviously, at least the great scene at the end where she actually has to talk her down. And it's actually Alex is the one who snaps her out of it, and like, cause they're in the subway, and like chaos is going on. She's got Supergirl by the neck. She might try and kill her, and Alex is like, no, I'm going to appeal to the humanity in her. So that part was great, I thought.
Yeah.
All the stuff in the subway was good, actually. I love the shot of because basically the world killer Purity eventually just gets out because super Krypton powers that are better than hers, better than Supergirl's.
Yeah, dampeners don't work. Doesn't really matter what they're doing.
Yeah, but she grabs the crystal because they find a crystal in her house. One of the Krypton crystals that can have data on them, basically like USB stick.
Yeah.
But they track her into the subway. I really like the it's a classic Superman-esque shot. But I love the flying at her, like, but she comes like past the camera to get to her, and she goes out the back of the train.
Was nice.
That was a really cool moment. And then I liked how everyone else kind of showed up. So Mon-El showed up, and then Jean phased through, and yeah, a lot of cool Jean action in this one actually.
There was.
Yeah, it didn't feel like they were nerfing him too much for the sake of things.
There was actually quite a bit of Jean this week in terms of that and the character stuff with Win. There was actual a reasonable amount of him in this episode.
Him and Mon-El had their own little kind of dueling subplot away from the main plot, which was mostly fun. It was when like geeking out over spaceships and stuff and wanting to touch power cells and everything else. Basically, the Legion ship was like their power source is damaged, so they were trying to use some of Jean's ship to sort of jumpstart it. Yeah, it was basically that was exactly what it was. They're just jumpstarting it essentially.
Yeah.
But they need the other like fancy alien tech to do it. And honestly, my biggest complaint with the episode, and it's not even a complaint in of itself so much, it's more of it's a worry about where things could go, is actually this idea that Mon-El is like, oh yeah, being around Kara is actually really difficult and it's giving me weird feelings and I want to stay away from her. And like certain girls noticing it and she's kind of like feeling weird about it. Now, they do kind of reconcile at the end of the episode and he apologises and he's honest about it. And it's like, okay, but this better not end with them leaving Mon-El behind. Don't do it.
I don't know. The thing is, I like the twist on the Mon-El and Saturn Girl's relationship. Okay, it was kind of a political marriage at first.
Yeah, it was to show that the Legion was like unified and strong and.
Yeah, I actually like that, and that it grew over time, but I didn't like the way it was like, okay, this feels like a loophole so that he can get out of it and go back to Kara.
It does, and that is what I definitely don't want under any circumstances. So that was a concern because it felt like they were planting seeds for why that could happen in the future. And I'd rather I will congratulate them loads. I will give them major credit if that does not happen. If this is all setting up the idea that he could have that choice and then says, no, I've actually fallen for Saturn Girl and like I'm dedicated to her. If he actually makes that choice, I will give the writers credit for that decision.
Yeah, and I do hope that's what happens, but I think we have good reason to be cautious.
Yeah, network TV, basically, is basically the reason. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's still better than he was last season, but under no circumstances do I want because I mean, hell, the one thing that was wrong with this episode actually is that Brainy's not around, but like Brainy's chemistry with Kara in like one episode was like miles ahead of anything her and Mon-El ever had.
That's the thing. I actually like Mon-El as a character this season. I think he's been really good. Other than this particular thing in this episode, I think he's actually been a really good character. As a love interest, absolutely not.
He's a little on the bland side. Cause I remember liking him when he first popped up because he was kind of funny. He was comic relief, and then they started shoehorning the really bad romance stuff in. Obviously, it really soured us on him because we were just sick of him after that. Whereas now they've taken away the bad romance part for the most part, and instead he's just kind of a bit bland because he's not that funny anymore. Because he's not the fish out of water.
He's not. He's very much almost a leader in his own right.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's better. It's maybe not the most interesting, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think I'd take this every day of the week over what it was last season.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. But to get back to the Supergirl and Purity thing, the scene at the end when Rain actually comes in to collect Purity, and she actually threatens Alex. And it's like, oh, Alex might actually get hurt here. And obviously we know she won't because it's a TV show and she's like a main character. But you felt how vulnerable she was. Like Supergirl wasn't, she was already kind of half beat. She wasn't really in fighting condition. Jean's too busy holding up the roof of the subway. Mon-El's a jobber. He's been knocked out. And she's just got her foot on her chest, and it's like she's going to crush Alex. Oh crap! And it's not going to happen, but it feels vulnerable. It feels like, oh shit, like yeah, like. If a Kryptonian like this just wanted to be this evil and do this, like there's
it would
nothing.
be this easy, yeah.
And of course it's Purity, or Julia I should say, who says, "Hey, I'll go with you, but leave her alone." Like the idea that humanity's there and it's just worth fighting for. That it's strong enough to do that. It's a really nice message, which is why I mostly like the debate in this episode. It's debating for. I love the idea that Supergirl's the one debating for the humanity when she's not the human.
Yeah, I definitely really like that side of it.
Yeah. So I think ultimately that strong moral for me kind of outweighs any of the clunkiness of forcing Alex into the opposing position.
For me, it becomes a slightly above average episode because of that. Like where there's some fun stuff with Win especially. The Jean getting some time is nice, and the action at the end is really good and a really strong start. And of course, the moral debate is really good. But ultimately, because so much of it is this other side of the debate as well, which I wasn't feeling, it kind of leaves me in a weird place overall.
Yes, that's fair. I liked it more than you did. I don't like it as much as the first two episodes we had back. I like it more than last week's, but not quite as much as those first two, which I thought were really strong. Those were two really strong episodes of the show.
They're maybe the high points of the season.
Yeah, so far. Hopefully we... and what I like about that, though, what I think is really promising about those being the high points, is that's when they brought in more of the Legion stuff, and we're definitely going to get more of that as the season goes on. So I think that's a good sign going forward. But so I really enjoyed that stuff. Obviously, what we've not talked about yet is a bit more of Sam and Lena, because Lena is kind of just dedicated to Sam's plot this week. And she's like, hey, I'm basically ordering you to take some time off because you're sick and you're having these blackouts. So Sam takes Ruby to the ice skating and has a blackout, has a rain moment mid ice skating and just disappears. So Ruby calls Lena, and
I will say that was one little thing that stuck out to me as weird. Her calling Lena and not Alex, given the relationship they've kind of struck up.
To be fair, later on when Lena says that she called her, she specifically says she called your work because she thought you might have went there.
Yeah, no, I get that.
So
it just seems strange.
I get it. She's a workaholic. They've kind of shown us that in the past. Yeah, I get the logic behind it. I mean, let's be honest. It's Lena because Alex is busy in the episode. that's the real reason.
I get it.
But the key points here is that Lena seems to put two and two together. She seems to realise that these blackouts seem to be coinciding with something. Seem to be coinciding whenever rain's around. Sam has disappeared somewhere, and when she sees Sam later on, Sam almost rains out and goes to kill her because she told Ruby that she's sick. And we actually end the episode with her saying, "Hey, I know what's happening to you. I'm going to try and help you." Which is interesting, especially if they don't tell Kara. So we have this weird dynamic where Lena's hiding something from her for a change.
Yeah, and this is the thing, she has no reason to tell Kara. Not really. Other than them being friends, but I feel like, hey, this is kind of, you're ill for, if that's the way they're going to play it. And, that's your business. It's not my it's not my secret to tell her, essentially.
Absolutely. What might be more interesting though is if we end up with a scene where Supergirl's there with Lena instead of Kara. Like, let's say like a fight's happening and Rain's doing something bad.
Yeah, and Lena tells her.
Yeah, like if she withholds it, then it's like flat out just like no, that she needs to know that information. Like like that this is a human being that you could like try and help.
Definitely.
Like that's where it crosses into kind of evil Luthor territory a little bit. Maybe it's too obvious, but like, do we think Lena finding out that Kara's Supergirl and she's been lying to her about it is the trigger?
I think that's what I've been assuming since she was introduced.
Mm-hmm.
But I really hope not. That's very much what they did with Lex in Smallville.
Yeah. I don't
know.
I can't help. Part of me can't help but like the idea though of Lena becoming the ultimate arch nemesis. Part of me loves it. And I know it's just doing Lex and Clark again. I know that, but that's...
Do you know what the problem is though?
Yeah.
They've left it so long without any hints that I don't know if they're going to go down that route anymore. Because obviously when she was introduced, we were convinced it was going to do that.
Well, last week they were kind of teasing that she was going to do it for a little bit, like, and then
they spent 10 minutes, and it was like, well, not really.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's almost because, like, do you want her to become Ultra Woman? I feel that's such an obvious plot to do for, like, season 4, say. Like, that's the plot. She becomes Ultra Woman with the suit and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and I get... And here's the thing, though, like, the whole Clark... I mean, I know Smallville did this, but for Smallville, that was a fairly new idea, was that Clark and Lex were friends before that happened. So, theoretically, in this universe, Clark and Lex were never friends before. Like, Superman and Lex were... enemies.
John, I'm not sure. I feel like there's been an offhand line somewhere referring to them being friends, but I could be misremembering.
I don't remember anything, but it's the sort of thing where...
I do think it was like an offhand line.
Yeah, it could be one line of dialogue in like season 1 that hinted at something that...
Yeah.
But I don't remember it. You could argue that the fact that a Chloe exists maybe implies there was some Smallville-esque timeline shenanigans.
Some variation of Smallville happened.
Yeah, a variation. Yeah. But nah. But typically, I assume that wasn't the case. I think of that as being Smallville's thing. In the comics, typically, in movies, typically, Superman and Lex don't really know each other before.
No, that's true. Probably one of the best ideas Smallville ever had.
Yeah,
it didn't necessarily use it to the best that it could have done, but it's a good idea. It's
a good idea that I like doing once, or not even just once, but like it's the sort of thing where I don't want that to be every interpretation of Lex and Superman after that point. Like, I don't think it's that good that it should completely be the solid thing forever.
But it was a good, unique idea for what it was then.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I won't agree with a lot of complimentary things about Smallville, but I'll agree with that idea.
Yeah, well, I'm not praising the execution, just the idea.
That's the thing. I always complain that Smallville like teased too many things that were going to happen to Superman, and then eventually they just started bringing in all the villains that he would eventually face. Had they just left it at Lex and nothing else, with the idea that Lex was a friend first, that would have been the one big thing you let them away with because they could do interesting things with it. And then, of course, they start bringing in like Metal and Doomsday, even stuff like Doomsday before he's Superman. Zod, yeah, and like
Darkseid was in the final season, I believe.
Yeah,
I distinctly remember some Omega beams.
I will bizarrely kind of say that's okay though, because it's kind of like that's what convinced him to become Superman, which isn't a terrible idea. That, you know, the idea that Darkseid showing up is the catalyst. Yeah,
okay, that's not atrocious.
Like, you know, I mean, admittedly, I'm cynical about it because they'd already used every other villain by that point. But
just that in a vacuum is nice.
Yeah, that in a vacuum. The idea that's what convinced him to put on the suit and the cape, and like whatever.
I think that can work for any one of the major villains, but you can only do it with one of them.
Yeah.
You can't have all the others as well.
And they did. I mean, they had Mxyzptlk in like season 2 or something like that.
They did, didn't they? He was the high school kid.
Was he? I don't know if he was actually played by him, but in my head, I'm remembering what's his face from like John Carter, Taylor Kitsch. Is that who I'm thinking of? I don't think it actually was him, but I'm remembering someone who looked a lot like him. He had long hair.
I know what you mean. I don't think it was him, but I can see what you mean.
Yeah, he had the long hair and stuff. Yeah,
he did.
We've went off topic, but I like the episode of Supergirl. There's legitimate problems you can pick up with it. Obviously, Connor you had a few more.
It's not a bad episode, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. It's still mostly enjoyable, but I did have some problems.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say you had more complaints than me. Just the one complaint that you just
It bothered
hated
me
more.
more. Yeah.
So hey ho. I guess my only on minor nitpick is when Purity's in the cells a couple of times where she's just monologuing a bit too much. I don't
Yeah.
like, but I mean, it is a minor thing.
I will say I like that Jean's dad is supplying the bar with Martian moonshine.
Oh yeah, that was quite funny because he's like, oh, this is like Martian moonshine. It's got a bit of a spice to it, and he's like, this has got a label on it. Oh yeah, I've been selling it in the bar. It's it's doing well.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Hey, we were saying last week you wanted to see the bar. We got one scene at the end with Kara and Alex sitting drinking and
Sure.
just getting over things and
Stuff.
Yeah.
The usual reason to go to a bar and have a drink.
Pretty much, yeah. So hey, obviously I'll miss Supergirl for the next 8-9 weeks, but look forward to having it back, and we'll.
It'll be a nice treat come the end of the season once that's the only thing going.
Yeah, it'll be the highlight of the week because everything else will be it'll be something else. It'll be.
Yeah, it'll be nice just to have something going a little bit longer than we typically do.
And hey, with Arrow off for the next 2 weeks, we get a Lois and Clark next week.
We do, and then we get a Smallville the week after. We've just spent so long talking about it that
I don't need to hear about that, Connor. Shut up.
yeah, no. I don't want to actually watch it, but here we are.
All right, that'll take us on to The Flash Season 4, Episode 13. It's called True Colors. Red and gold, just for the record. Or yellow, it depends on your. It depends on who's colouring them, to be honest. Sometimes it's more gold.
Depends on the shade, yeah.
Sometimes it's more yellow, whatever. So this is... okay, something I said last week, right? I said, now that Barry's out of his regular cell, I said, okay, he's not going back because it'll feel weird to go back. Now, I was right, but for like a scene of this episode, they were really trying to make me think that I was wrong, and they were going to put him back in the cell.
When it got to that, I was like, oh my god, they're actually... they are going back? What's happening here?
Yeah, and then the very next scene, they get him out of prison.
Never mind.
Yeah, and I'm like, did we need the little, like... I mean, I get, he's noble, he's going to go back in his cell, okay, but we already feel that way about him. Like, that's been well established at this point, that he's a goody two shoes. We don't have to, drive that home, but... what I did like about this, though, is that he's in the meta wing, and basically 4 or 5 of the villains that we've had all season are all there. We got Kilgore, we got Black Bison, we got Hazard, that's basically the bad luck girl.
Yeah.
And obviously we had a Dwarf Star from last episode, and was there one I'm forgetting? I think that's all of them, right?
No, I think that's it. Those and Barry.
Those and Barry.
Also, just for the record, they do have a meta wing. Because we debated about this last week, whether or not they actually had a meta cells or not.
Oh, now you're mentioning it. Yeah, I did remember now. Yeah. Which is bigger than I thought it was, because they're walking for a long time before they get to the edge of this meta wing.
They are, aren't they?
How big is Iron Ace? But hey, so here's my first look. So he does some fancy tricks. He fakes a blockage in the... Well, he didn't fake it, but he blocks the toilet himself, and then someone comes out to fix it, and then he steals a battery, he gets some acid going from the battery, and he melts his lock, and he gets everyone else out. And they go on. And there's a nice little moment where the other guys want to kill a guard that they've found, or someone who's working on the basement on something.
Yeah.
And obviously they have to, and he has to punch him and knock him out. So here's this is a minor complaint, but it really bugged me. See, when they get outside of the wing, right? They're in the courtyard where where the weights are and stuff, where the prisoners usually go outside, and everything starts going down. And the warden there, Wolfe's there. He's got his soldiers. I mean, prison guards. But I'm saying soldiers because they're geared up like soldiers. Like, these are the meta combatant soldiers.
Yeah.
And basically, Wolfe, to get them to all turn on Barry, says, "Oh, by the way, he's the Flash. He put you all here, and he's probably going to put you back in as soon as you get out." And they all start to turn around, and they're all like one by one, like, "Really? Is this true?" Alright. And then a Dwarf Star turns around and goes, "Really? I'm going to crush you." And I'm like, why are you bothered? Flash had nothing to do with you getting caught. That was last week.
You're right. It's a very good point.
Flash wasn't there.
Maybe he just knows it was Team Flash because they have a reputation, and
Maybe.
and like, oh, this is still on you. They're operating without you, but it's your fault.
But he was like, yeah, I'm coming to get you, Flash. And I'm like, why do you care? You've never interacted with them.
Also, wouldn't it be easier to get out of the prison and then deal with him? You know, until you're out, he's on your side still. It could be helpful.
Ah, the criminals are not the brightest. What I did like though, I liked the whole idea that Hazard is trying to be a better person, and even once she finds out he's the Flash, she steps in front of him and tries to help. And not only that, she then fights all of the other villains with bad luck, which is amazing.
It is. It's such a fun power, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really hilarious because they all start just like tripping over things and whatever. And my favourite part is because what's her face?
Like, oh yeah.
Katie Sackhoff with a bad accent. She shows up and she's like, "Oh, here's all my pretty metahumans. Yes, I knew you were messing." We'll get to the plot with her and why she knows that this is all going wrong. But she shows up and one of the guards, again with bad luck power, like just fires a grenade, like a smoke grenade, at their feet. And I love that Katie Sackhoff, as she goes down, goes, "Oh, not again." I'm like, what did that happen before?
Yeah.
Who have you got on the payroll that's accidentally fired a smoke grenade at your feet before?
I don't know. That's a good question.
That line really made me laugh. I've not been a big fan of Amunet, but that really made me laugh.
I have some strange moments with her as well in this episode, which we'll get to once we talk about the other side of the plot.
Yeah. Basically, what happens is DeVoe shows up and absorbs all of these villains' power. And here's another thing. So I really like that it makes us care about Hazard because she stands up for Barry and is trying to be a better person. Because she was never really bad per se. She didn't really know what her power was doing, and then she was a little bit like resistant to give it up because she was doing so well. But you know, she wasn't evil by any means.
Definitely not.
But here's what I like. I like that. So it actually basically kills all the other metahumans and takes all their powers, and you can see the energy going towards her, like through the cable. And I like the way actually for once got Barry, because by this point he's got like another speed dampener bracelet thing on his leg, so he can't use his speed. And we get him running in slow motion, but it's actually just regular speed in slow motion. And I thought that was a really cool little thing because we see him running in slow motion so often, but it's not actually him in slow motion. It's just the rest of the world's in slow motion. Yeah. There was something really nice about him just running at regular speed in slow motion.
It is. It's a nice twist on it, isn't it?
Yeah, because he's trying to get there in time, but it feels like no, he's actually gimped. Because we're so used to him being able to just zoom. And so it was nice, and I actually cared that she was maybe about to die. It turned out she didn't die. Instead, DeVoe beamed himself into her body. So now we have her around as DeVoe, which is interesting. And his wife did not look very happy about this development.
She did not, no.
And all I could think was, oh man, DeVoe's got a dirty mind. I know what he's thinking.
Yeah, definitely.
And even at the end, she's like, that. I mean, she roofies her for a start. Like she puts something in that glass of champagne that she gives his wife.
Yes.
Or he gives his wife. I'm not even sure.
You're flipping between them here.
I'm not sure what I should be, because it's still DeVoe. He's just,
I'd say I think we stick to call it he.
Yeah, it's still him, but he's in Hazard's body. Yes. But yeah, so it gives us some mystical or scientific magic-y pill of some kind.
Mystical scientific-y magic.
It was blue and it glowed, alright? It made her face glow.
It did, which she didn't seem to notice. So,
yeah.
I don't know if it was just an effect for us or if that was actually what was happening.
I think that was just like a part of like to show that it was happening. But I think she was already starting to like be more like less antagonistic towards him. She was already starting to give in because she was kind of all throughout the episode. She was kind of like challenging him and saying, "Hey, why did you only take like 4 powers when we were supposed to wait until we had all the metas from the bus together and take them all at the same time?" And you dare question my plans, blah 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 blah, and so. But hey, I like that all those villains became relevant again for an episode, and they weren't just forgotten.
Yeah, I mean, we'd always assumed there'd been some sort of plan for them because, hey, there was a checklist of villains. But this was a nice way of using them in one go without feeling like we're just going back to them repeatedly. So
now DeVoe has telepathy. He can make anything that looks like an animal of any kind become alive and control it.
Mm-hmm.
He has the bad luck power, which is going to be a real challenge for Flash and his coated handle.
Yeah.
He's got, what else has he got? He's got the hacking technology control.
And shrinking.
And the shrinking, the Dwarf Star shrinking. That's a lot of powers.
Well, yeah, and it's only half of what he wanted.
Yeah, I know. Well, it obviously leads to the big thing. So Ralph comes in at the end and he's all like, "Hey, why is everyone looking at my dead man?" Because they've all just realised that he's targeting all the metas from the bus. So Ralph's on a hit list. Which before speaking of Ralph, yeah, let's go down the other side of the episode, the other plot, which is Ralph sort of fully develops his powers a little bit more. He realises something else he can do, kind of by accident, is he can shapeshift. He can actually stretch everything out and turn into someone else. And apparently that also affects his accent.
I get it. He's shifting his vocal cords and then putting on the accent. So to change the inflection of his voice is the vocal cords he's shifting along with everything else. The accent, well, anyone can put on an accent if they try.
That's true, but he doesn't mean to, though, the first time he does it. He just kind of starts doing it because he's shifted to this other body. Which, and let's not gloss over the drunken Scotsman that is the person he shapes. Because they introduced this guy at the start, where he's like this old associate.
Yeah.
And he's
I'm like, there's getting too many Scots on American TV. I'm not liking this.
I'm just a little bit offended. I think it was Iris who referred to him as Braveheart, and I'm not a fan of that slur. Thank you very much. But it was amusing enough. And I guess that's why they maybe picked someone with a completely different accent. It was just to make it really funny when he switched. Because he hears it in his voice, because he doesn't see himself. He's just sort of like talking and complaining, "Oh, he's a 2-bit swine, he's this, he's that."
That's it. At first I thought he was being intentional, because he goes, "Oh, he's fat," and his stomach comes out. I thought he was like he was putting that on to emphasise it. Look how fat he is. But no.
Then the voice started to change. It's like, "That's him! That's him! That's the swine right there! That's him!" Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh, that's me."
And then they have this whole plan to impersonate. Because basically they find out about Wolfe's plan because Iris goes to see him. Wolfe lies a bit on being solitary, and Cecile just hears it all in his head. He's like, "Wait a minute, he's selling metahumans."
Yeah.
You know what's going on. I'm like, you know what? Cecile's proving useful, which did make me realise that she may actually be very essential when it comes to DeVoe later on, if she can read minds as well.
Because he's thinking so fast.
Yeah.
How fast can she keep up?
I don't know. It's a good question. I have no idea.
Soon find out.
So they get this plan that he's going to shapeshift into Wolfe. There's some fun jokes there. The painting from it face being the prime bit of humour as he's trying to turn into Wolfe. Then it makes some comedy, like, his ear starts like sagging when he's at the bar and he's meant to be Wolfe.
Yeah, him just not having the coordination, missing the glass across the bar.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, when he first turns into Wolfe, he like stands up and just falls over. He can't walk.
It's fun.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of humour in there. And then he feels like he's he's worried because his friend was, or I say friend, Earl, whatever his name was like, you always let people down, and you'll remember who your real friends are, because he wants to get him involved in some other scam that he used to be into. And
classic Scotsman.
It's actually sharp. I'll have you know, he's an outlier.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
You don't believe that.
Upstanding. Well, what's your representation on this show? Stupid Malfoy?
Hey, he wasn't bad.
he's evil.
He was not evil. He was antagonistic for a bit.
His only claim to fame is that he managed to not get killed even though he was Caitlin's love interest. That's the only claim to fame that character has.
Hey, that is a major achievement on this show.
Anyway,
I have a question.
Oh yeah.
On that topic, so we know what happens to Caitlin's love interests. What do we think is going to happen with Killer Frost's love interests?
That's a good question, because she turns out to Killer Frost to give him a pep talk because realizes that Caitlin's not going to cut it. So she's like, she actually cuts her hand to like bring out Killer Frost. I'm like, Caitlin, just learn to do this. This is extreme.
That was, or at least just a little pinprick or something, not a whole slash.
It was very almost self-harming levels of like dark. Then it was just kind of like played for light because she's Killer Frost now, but whatever. And gives Ralph a pep talk, and yeah, so yeah, that was basically the whole thing. It didn't go very well, but of course it's used to great effect because, as I said, they get Barry out of prison. How did they do that? Because there's a hearing in which Cecile's going to present new evidence to why Barry should get out of prison. I'm like, this better go better than last time. When Irish stood up and just said he was innocent. Remember that? And the doors open, and in wheels in DeVoe, and everyone, including his wife, is just like, "What the hell? What's happening?" Do you know what I love about it though? It's like there was a dead body, like in the coroner's office, like people studied the dead body, like it was put somewhere. People saw it, and he's just like, "Oh no, I wasn't really dead. This is Central City. Weird stuff happens all the time. I'm alive."
Do you know what the best part of that is? The judge is like, "Do you know what? This sounds sketchy, but I'm not sure I can argue with that logic because Speed Force, bro."
And also the fact that he's looking at him. He's seeing him right there in front of him.
He is, yeah. It's pretty convincing.
And all I can think though is that, does this mean that for the rest of the season Ralph has to like show up to like social functions as DeVoe just to sort of keep up the appearance that DeVoe's alive?
That'd be great. Do you know, this is where the episode actually threw me a little bit because you know, when he was after his pep talk, he's like, "Oh, I know what to do," and then we cut to the prison, and it's the final bit where they're going outside and Wolfe's there. And then Amunet shows up, and Wolfe's like, "You're early." I was like, "Oh, he's gone as Amunet now," and tried to go the other way around, and he'll just collect them. And then it wasn't. I was like, "Oh, okay, Amunet's just early." I was really disappointed for a minute.
No, yeah, because I think at one point, like he says, because I think when he leaves the room after his pep talk, he's like, "I figured out a way to fix all this," and obviously that's the DeVoe shape shifting thing. Not he's not referring to actually just going in and breaking people out of prison. So
but I thought, okay, well, if he gets Barry out that way, Wolfe is going to cover for them being gone anyway, so it would have worked.
I know that's true. Wolfe's dead, so he's not around no more.
Well, don't really need him now. We're not going back to Iron Heights.
Yeah. Although Amunet lives to tell a tale. She scuttled out of there at the last minute.
Yeah. Just a bit of a cough from all that smoke, I'm sure.
But hey-ho, that was a fairly enjoyable episode of Flash. I feel like all the villains together escaping with Barry and like all the stuff from that was fun. Ralph was pretty funny with his shape shifting. The solution, while kind of absurd, works well enough. Like, sure, I'll accept it. It's fine.
Yeah, it'll do.
Yeah, he's out of prison now. Good. We can just move on from that. That's nice. But hey, so that was a decent episode of Flash. I mean, as silly as Flash can sometimes be, this is still pretty up there. But
yeah.
Anyway, so we'll move on to Black Lightning, Season 1, Episode 4. It's called Black Jesus. So full spoilers for the episode as well. Full spoilers for everything as we've been talking about, but. So sometimes I go into autopilot because I think I'm introducing another like standalone review.
Yeah, that's just your go-to intro.
Yeah, I always say full spoilers after I say the title if I'm doing that. So anyway, here we are. So this obviously follows on, and of course I should remember Jennifer's boyfriend's name, shouldn't I? Khalil. There you go. I've been calling him the boyfriend for like 3 episodes now. So yeah, Khalil. So he was shot and he is in hospital. He still thinks he can walk again. He's people are doubting it, but he's in the physical therapy. He's like, nah, these people don't know me. I can do this. Of course, we get the big news towards the end of the episode that just ain't happening. His spine is severed. Like, you're down. And the 2 things that kind of offshoot into this or out of this is, one, Jennifer's kind of mixed feelings because she quits track team. And she's all kind of happy with that. She's excited to tell him, and he just kind of shrugs and goes, "Oh, that's cool," and just keeps playing his video game or whatever he's doing at the time. I think he's watching.
He's watching the running because that's when he says, "I'm gonna do it anyway."
Yeah, and it was just kind of the moment where she's like, like how much does he care about what I'm doing? Like, he didn't, there was no reaction. It was just like, back to me.
Yeah.
Immediately. So there's that small point to acknowledge, and then of course the other big thing is that Tobias, whose sister has came to town to help kill Black Lightning, because we learned that Tobias, because he goes after the a mortician that was 9 years ago when he thought he'd killed Black Lightning, like he was supposed to confirm the death, and he goes to confront him and he's like, well, you didn't do your job, you didn't confirm it properly, you lied, therefore you need to die. So we get that scene, but then his sister shows up to town and they're all evil together, and like, okay, right, so what we have to do is turn the public against Black Lightning. So his whole plan is to go to Khalil and basically turn him against Black Lightning, because if he speaks out against Black Lightning and blames him for what's happened to him, it'll turn the public opinion.
Especially right now when we see all the TV interviews and coverage of what he's been going through.
Yeah, the town's very much care about, because they keep saying, he was going to go to the Olympics. That's how good he was. Like, he was gearing up for like a big career. But hey, and I think what really works for me about this, it's very sinister, like manipulating him to like do this. But the fact that earlier on in the episode, that when it's brought up to Tobias the first time, he's just like, he ain't going to the Olympics. Like, he just doesn't care. He's so dismissive. He doesn't give a shit. But then at the end, when you see him, like, I'm here to help you. I sent you all these gifts. Like, we already know how two-faced he's being, and it really makes you feel a little bit sick.
I did enjoy Tobias here, especially he's like, keep the light down. It hurts my eyes. And obviously, part of that is we know he had a political career. He would have been, a public figure. And maybe he's like, okay, the kid's too young to recognize me. He might not remember me, because it would have been, probably 9 years ago at least.
Yeah, he'd have been single digits, yeah.
Yeah, but you might recognize the face. It's just as a precaution. Well, let's keep it so he can't see me just as easily.
Yeah, just a little bit of darkness, a little bit of shade.
Plus, he likes to play up the dramaticism and be sinister.
He does.
He is a performer at heart.
Yeah, so you get that, yeah, and that was mostly Jennifer stuff, was kind of related to Khalil, and then Anissa, on the other hand, powers are developing. She actually, because at one point she sees a couple of the kids that she teaches being sold this drug, green light, and they're kind of like, she pulls over and she tells them to get away, but the drug dealers are like, just oh, screw you, bitch, blah blah blah, say nasty things to her. She goes back out in a hoodie later that night, and just like when she confronts them, just punches both of them with super strength, and then panics. And I actually really like this. I like that afterwards she's like, "Oh shit, did I kill him?" And the guy's like struggling to breathe, and like, okay, maybe I have to like get a handle on my powers.
I like that she went and checked. I thought it was weird that she checked his pulse when you can
see him breathing.
See him breathing. Yeah. Really, you check the pulse if they're not breathing.
Joe, actually, I'll stick off of that a little bit. I kind of like the idea that she's smart in other ways, but that's just not. She doesn't have medical knowledge, so she's just like, that's just a mistake. She doesn't understand that she doesn't have to check that. Maybe
Maybe. I don't know. It stuck out to me.
Hey, there's going to be a comment telling you this is still worth doing.
There probably is. But
your mother's a nurse. You should know better.
That's my point. My mother is a nurse, and this is how I was, brought up, taught. I had refresher CPR classes every year.
Oh, really? Okay. I was going to ask, were you actually taught to check a pulse?
Yeah, I have a CPR. Yeah, well, I did. Obviously, the suggested route of CPR changes like every 3 years, like the amount of compressions and mouth to mouth, etc. So for a while
Hasn't the mouth to mouth just been like gone for a while?
I think it has. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that
I've not kept up with it, but I know, for most of my life up till when I was 17, 18, I was consistently every year getting that certification updated.
Oh well, that's fascinating, little tangent. But this is doing all this, and then she's with Grace Troy later on, and these assholes start to like sort of harass them, and one of them punches Grace, and you see her, and this is intercut with what Black Lightning's doing, so you kind of know it's going to link up in some way, because it keeps cutting back and forth as if, okay, this is eventually going to be a thing. And I kind of like how they didn't show us it, even though you could argue, oh, they're being cheap here, and they're avoiding the actual, the big money moments. But I do actually like that Black Lightning just kind of hears the explosion, and it's like, was that an explosion? What was going on over there?
That sounded huge.
And then when he gets there, there's like cars flipped over. There's like some of the concrete's been like smashed in, and we see a little bit of the footage later on actually when what's his name, Gambi's looking at it, and like she just stomps in the ground at one point. And there's like a footprint in the concrete and like cracks and stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm like, okay, I'm looking forward to seeing this more.
It was like full on Hulk Rage-esque like destruction.
It was, and I'm like, okay, was this just she's out of control, or was this just trying to cover her tracks, maybe?
I think it's probably out of control. And because when you see her in the barn, she's like holding Grace, and she's like patching her up, and she's saying, "Hey, if you could help people, if you could do something, would you do it?" So she's still clearly want to go down the hero path. She's still sort of inching towards that. But I wonder if it's, and I think shown as the scene earlier on where she was concerned that she might have killed someone, it's doing a nice balance of like, okay, she has a temper, but she's also a decent human being, and she doesn't actually want to go around killing people. So it's just finding that balance.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Jade certainly gave them 2 rides. I'm sorry.
That was awful.
I feel like, do you know what? There's going to be an episode sometime eventually where she has sex twice in one's episode, and I'm going to make that line. I'm going to say that line, and it's going to be so accurate. It's going to be gold.
Would you like to explain this for anyone who's not?
I probably should. Yeah, what Jade gives 2 rides means. Our character on Twin Peaks was called Jade, and there was a joke about she was a prostitute, and there was a joke that she also had to give someone a lift home. So she said, "I guess Jade's giving 2 rides today." And then it was
just got repeated. Jade give 2 rides.
Yeah, it got repeated later on. So it became a bit of a joke for anyone who watched Twin Peaks. And she played that character. Hence my joke. But hey.
It was amusing in itself, but
yeah.
You know, there was probably a large portion of people who were going, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know how much overlap there is between the DC shows and Twin Peaks, but yeah. So that was her thing. Jefferson himself, though, dealing with a lot of big stuff this episode. We actually open with a kid in the bathroom ODing. Like, I was wondering what was going on, like because some kids just run out and like, oh, kid's going crazy in there.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'll go get vice principal, get security," and he goes out to deal with it. And this kid is like, just going nuts. Like he is like, you know, it is. I mean, to go back to the Hulk analogy, it almost feels like he's about to Hulk out. Like you feel like this about to happen. Like the way he looks.
Yeah,
and
okay.
He's sort of, tensing himself up, and he's got the eyes and all the rest of it. And Jefferson has to, like, use some lightning powers to like calm him down, or well, I say calm down, knock him out. Which is technically calming down. That will slow your heartbeat down a bit. So
it will, yeah.
So no, that's not by it. But it's all about this drug green light, which has been pushed and is very dangerous. It's causing people to OD. But again, we have this idea of the moral dilemma of him being a high school principal, and the school board wants to expel him. But the dad's like, "Hey, he's been accepted to colleges. This will derail all that. He's never done anything before now. Can you give him a chance?" And he wants to. He's like, "No, this kid gets one big mistake, sure. This shouldn't derail his entire life." Isn't he? But the board doesn't want this. And of course, it's all kind of moot later on when the kid ends up going to get more. Because it turns out this stuff's really addictive. Like, where you have one taste of it and you're just... That's
it, you're hooked, yeah.
Yeah. Gambi kind of like does apparently he's good with forensics as well and chemistry, and he can...
Is there anything he's not good with? I feel like they need some of his background being explained, because he just seems to do everything.
Yeah.
He's a tailor, but he's good at the physics, the chemistry, the computers.
I feel like the tailor thing is just what he took up later in life after all the other stuff. The tailor's like the newest thing.
Yeah, that might possibly. But Either way, I'd like to know what he was doing before then.
Yeah. I feel like he has to be some sort of tech wizard, but then the chemist... Yeah, how does that... I'm trying to fit them together.
And he's designing the suit and stuff, like all the electronics in it and all the systems.
I at least see that going with the hacking and the tech stuff. Like I can see that kind of syncing up with that a little bit.
Yeah, okay. It's the inventing as well as just the hacking, though, right?
Bit of an engineer.
Yeah.
Engineer, hacker, chemist, and clearly he's got some combat training. He seems to
also stylish.
Oh, he's stylish, sure.
Well, that goes with being a tailor, right?
Sure. But I feel like you could be any of those things and also be stylish.
There is, but I mean, I feel like he has put a flair into like the black lights, like the goggles, like the way they collapse open. Yeah,
or the fact that, I mean, we even get a nice little joke here where he's like, "Hey, if I'd known you'd give me X-ray vision, I'd have come out of retirement 5 years ago."
Yeah, exactly.
It's not X-ray vision; it's electrical vision. You're seeing anything that's got an electric current running through it. Oh, that's kind of cool, actually. I kind of like that, especially since today now that would be like. Would kind of be like X-ray vision, like even if it's as simple as you can see people walking around because they've got a phone in their pocket, and because there's like a pulse coming off that, maybe it gives you like a bit of a almost Daredevil-esque vision, but in like blue.
Yeah, you just kind of ping people.
Yeah, So, that's a nice idea. That's cool. So I can see that being used as the show goes on.
Mm.
So that's all nice. So yeah, there's tracking down the drug, and he's doing that. He doesn't get very far. He beats up like an old buddy that's went down this bad path. He tries to talk to him as Jefferson first, and then goes back as Black Lightning. And then the guy kind of like, hey, like, I'll go. This is my third strike if you call the police. Like, I don't want to go away for 30 years.
He makes a point. Go, you know what? 30 years. I'm dealing drugs, yeah, but 30 years is harsh. And Jefferson rightly agrees that okay, that is harsh.
It's like,
so
okay,
I'll give you a chance.
Again, much like the student, you get one chance. If I find out you're doing it again, it's over. But yeah, I won't call the police. But then he has the gall to try and get a selfie, and Jefferson's not having it.
Just straight out.
Yeah, he just knocks him out. It's good
I'm
stuff.
still really feeling that flash as he punches people.
Yeah, I think I compared it to like a spark when you've got like a cable and the crocodile clips.
It's not like a really intense effect, but it's just a really nice, satisfying feel when it happens.
No, so that's going on, and then ultimately it all kind of derails when the kid ends up kind of ending up at the drug den, and he has to go in and save him, which basically means that his college prospects are looking a little bit rougher before. I mean, Jefferson's still pleased that he's going to help. He's going to be like, no, I'll try and help, and let's get him into college, but he actually concedes that the school board's going to get more control. He has to sort of give in. He realises he can't fight that too much. Because he even says, like, if he fights this, he might win, but as soon as his contract's up, they're going to get rid of him and hire someone else who isn't someone from around here, who's someone who's from the outside, who might not know the kids very well.
Yeah, and this is maybe he has to lose the battle to win the war.
Yeah. So no, I mean, oddly, I think this debatably might be the weakest of the 4 episodes, but like not by.
It's not by much.
Yeah.
There are still things I really like when the family dinner when the Hendersons are over.
Oh yeah, and Anissa starts like basically telling Henderson, "Yo, you're a shit cop."
Well, no. She doesn't say you're a shit cop. It's just all the cops are kind of shit.
All right, okay, sure.
They're not working.
Sure.
She doesn't call him out specifically. That would be harsh.
Yeah, you're all shit. Therefore,
yeah. So she's sticking up for Black Lightning. You got her mother, being like, "Well, wouldn't his family be worried?" And she's like, "Nah, they're proud of him. He's a hero."
Yeah, Jefferson's just at the edge of the table, just sort of like choking on his foot a little bit. It's not as funny as the sex talk from last week, of course. But
the bit that did kill me is afterwards when she leaves the table and he goes, she's all right. And as soon as she's gone, he just starts grinning to himself, going, "Yeah, I've got one." Got one on my side.
How's he going to feel when he finds out about the powers, though, and she wants to go out and start punching things herself? That'll be conflicting.
He's going to be such a proud father.
Now, it's worth mentioning that Gamby checks the security footage, and he tells Jefferson he doesn't see anything, but he doesn't necessarily see who it is because she's got her hood up. But he does see that it's a person, and he sees that it's someone with super strength. So he's aware of that, and he goes out looking for whoever it is.
Yeah, harder to justify than it was last week's scrubbing of data.
Yeah, I'm not sure where it's going with this. I still think he's he's ultimately a good guy, but I'm wondering what this is. What's it leading to? Why is he hiding this?
I do wonder if it's a case of he wants to recruit her, but he feels like, as Black Lightning, and he retired, he's always been very personal in his vendetta, and he's feeling like, okay, if he talks to this person, he might not convince her to join the cause, but he can maybe get her as the cause.
The great irony of this, though, is if he knew it was Anissa and he'd heard her speak about any of this, he'd be like, okay, my job's done, basically. She's already...
exactly.
She's already done. Like, and Jefferson ain't going to stop shit. Like, if she wants to do this, she's doing it.
But he does not know that at this point because of the hood.
Oh, sure, yeah.
She actually has some awareness to pull up the hood.
Well, what's interesting is Grace Troy has powers of her own. She has like strength as well in the comics. And what's funny is in the comics, I think they don't meet until they're both established with strength.
Oh yeah, it's a bit later.
Yeah. Whereas here they've met and she doesn't have powers, and I can't help but feel like if they give her powers later on, it'll feel really coincidental that who she met ends up having powers later. But hey, it's not a big deal. But it's just one of those weird little things.
Yeah. No. The only way I can see them doing it is if they actively find a way to give her powers. Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, I want to join. I want to be strong like you, and come out with you," sort of thing.
Given that I think it's also just super strength, it'd be interesting if it's something to do with Anissa. Like I don't know, they get linked or something with some weird
You're thinking Shazam family of share the power.
Almost, yeah. Either
Yeah.
that or like I'm thinking like those stupid episodes of Smallville and even Lois and Clark did this where Superman would get struck by lightning and these powers
Oh,
would
they'd swap
transfer to
powers for a bit.
someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm thinking
Yeah.
something silly like that. And hey, we've got someone who can fire lightning at them.
Hey, it's controllable.
Yeah. But hey, yeah. But maybe that'll be a bonding thing. Like they'll share their power. Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe that'll be like a. You know what? I'm going to make a guess. I'm making a prediction here, right? She can't control her strength; it's too much, and she keeps causing too much damage. So the
Give some
cure,
of it away.
the cure is to half it by sharing it with someone else. And Grace volunteers to help with the burden.
I can see it. I can see
That's
it.
my guess. That's my guess right now. So that'll take us on, unfortunately, to Arrow.
Aye, I suppose.
It's called The Devil's Greatest Trick, which of course is a reference to The Usual Suspects. It's season 6, episode 13. And I actually, like I said, I had to actually go and skim this. I mean, I do that with some of the other shows as well, because I'll watch them earlier in the week because I'm excited to watch them, so I get to them quite quickly. So it's been a little while.
Arrow is usually a day or two before we record.
But I had legitimately forgotten like all of this until I went back and looked at it again. And
Here's the extent of what I remember plot-wise.
okay, go on.
Before you, because obviously I haven't skimmed it. There's someone else who betrayed Caden James. Try to remember his name for a second. And he's like, gather them all up. I'm going to question them. That's it.
Yeah, kinda. So we find out who killed his son, and it was one of his people that he's with just now, all along. They were the ones behind it. Turns out, Dragon, Diaz, he's the one who did it. Because he actually kills Caden James at the end of the episode. Caden James is dead. Well, he's gone.
Oh yeah, that did happen, didn't it?
Yeah. We get flashbacks throughout the episode of him and his son, and then finding out his son was dead, and all that stuff. And meeting Helix Girl, what's her name? Elena. For the first time. So
yeah. Who is still just hanging around in the Arrow base.
Yeah, she's just there. She's basically there making Felicity feel redundant, which is...
She is making Felicity look bad, which is... I mean, it's not hard, but...
Yeah, I can't fault it. Do you know, I think I figured this out at one point before, but it's occurred to me again where I actually know her from.
Go on.
She was in Hannibal. She was
the surrogate daughter.
The surviving person from the first... Because her whole family gets killed in the first episode. And then she's like this. She's around for a while.
I'm sure we went over that last season.
I think we did, but then I forgot about it, and then it clicked again. So that happens.
She was better in that show.
So Dinah is like really, really pissed at Black Siren. Is on the warpath. She wants to kill her, and Lance keeps stopping her. And as basically a thing. And at the end of the episode, Lance has Black Siren like handcuffed and like, hey. Caden James said you hesitated before you killed Vigilante, what's his face. So because of that, I believe there's good in you somewhere deep down. So you know what? We're doing this.
Yeah, he is desperate for this to work out, isn't he?
He is desperate. We find out that the current police captain is on the take. She is working for Dragon, so, I'm sure that'll be a plot point that comes up. What I really want to about this wasn't like an exciting episode, even in a bad Arrow way, where I was laughing a lot at the bad stuff. It was just kind of mundane and doing its thing. Yeah. The one time I did kind of laugh though and went, "Oh no!"
I know where this is going. I've just remembered.
Right, I don't know if it's the same thing. We'll find out. You maybe remember something I've forgotten, but it's basically so everything's going down. Caden's got a bomb set to like destroy the entire city, and they've basically figured out where he's going to go, and they've captured like the Dragon, they've captured Black Siren, they've captured Anatoly, and they're all going to meet here. Team Arrow's there, Caden James is there, but young William, who's in the Arrow Cave, overhears where the address is, and he's pissed that he's not been allowed to go on any of the mission. Because at one point he even says like, "Hey, can I come on the mission, Dad?" He's like, "No, I'm going to fight bad guys. You're not coming on the mission. They're going to be shooting bullets at me."
The most sensible parenting all of us ever done.
But imagine this in like a cop show. Your dad's going to like a drug bust, and you're like, "Hey, Dad, can I come? I just want to be there and help." It's like, no. But he overhears the address. He sneaks out and goes anyway. The little shit. So he's just kind of there.
Backpack.
with his Flash backpack, and he's just kind of there. In fact, there's kind of a Flash cameo in this, by the way.
There is.
Because at one point, like, oh, Kane James is almost out of the city, we'll never catch him in time, and then Oliver goes, I've got an idea. And I actually thought for a split second, you know, Flash would be really, really handy here, but we'll see what his idea is. And then you just see the zooming red and yellow lightning, and it just goes away. So, like, you know, Grant Gustin's not on the show. The visual effect is on the show. But
sometimes that's all you need.
Oh no, I'm not complaining about that. But I actually laughed and went, you know what? They should do that more often, because honestly, they would. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So
they should be doing that.
Yeah, but hey, so that was amusing. But yeah, so William's there, and this is the thing. If anyone in the room, including, you know, and I mean all the bad guys, didn't know that this was, you know, Oliver, the minute he sees William, he just like runs over and goes, "Oh, William, are you okay?" And he starts hugging him and stuff, and it's like, come on, Oliver, like, try and
play cool.
In fact, we never mentioned it in Flash how Barry just isn't even trying to like hide the fact that he's got powers in front of his other. I mean, I know they all know he's a meta because he's in the meta wing with them, but it was weird.
Well, no, Wolfe says when Aminette's coming and, you know, when she's there and he's showing them off and telling them what they can do, he says this one's a speedster.
Oh yeah, I know, but what I'm like.
So they all know he's a speedster, so why would he hide it?
Yeah, okay. Well, okay, that does make me question, though, why are they all so that shocked there when they find out he's the Flash at the end? I mean, I know there's more than one speedster, but
yeah.
like he's...
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think, because I think the assumption is he's in the prison, he's in the meta wing, they assume evil speedster that they haven't heard about because it happened since they came into the prison.
Alright, okay. Anyway, so they beat Kane James, he gets arrested, but then the dragon, you know, Richard Dragon goes in and kills him. And he's just like, oh, by the way,
doesn't he?
Yeah, and by the way, I killed your son as before he dies, and that's the end of the episode. That's the big exciting finale. I have a lot of exciting things to say about this one. There wasn't enough stuff that I laughed at because it was bad.
I remember liking Anatoly. I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but when
had a couple of funny
Oliver
moments
went to get him.
Yeah, there was a couple of funny moments with him because they all realise that Kane's basically left him to die in the city, and they get kind of pissed about it. So there's a couple of moments like that, and Anatoly has one or two good lines.
Yeah, he's like, you're fine, just lock me up, but do it in another city.
Yeah, I think the problem from our perspective of this episode is that, although actually I remember that moment I liked at one point William's playing with an arrow and Thea walks into the arrow base and just says, "Hey William, give me that, don't touch that."
Yeah,
it's like, yes, Auntie Thea.
Yeah. Thea can be quite funny when she's used,
which these days isn't that often.
Yeah, no, it's
she was in a coma for like 9 episodes now. Come on.
No, exactly. That's why I said when she's used. It's
yeah, I don't have a whole lot because like often there'll be some fun stuff, or when I say fun stuff, often there'll be some bad stuff that's funny. I feel like there wasn't, which I guess is a compliment that there wasn't as much of that this episode. It was just kind of, and everything was very dead serious because Dinah was so pissed about, you know, Vigilante dying, Lance was trying to stop her, and all that stuff was, you know, played dead straight because it was all like meant to be highly emotional.
The problem is we don't give a shit.
But we don't give a shit, so it just kind of comes off as boring. Which it's not necessarily a problem. It's not really this episode's fault per se. It's more of a build up of just how we feel in general.
Yeah.
But hey. So, you know, so fair's fair.
Not the worst episode, but not the most fun either.
No, it wasn't bad enough to be fun.
We like Arrow now at this point when it's an absolute train wreck, and we can have fun with it being a train wreck.
Yes, that is when Arrow's at its best now.
But basically, Arrow, stop trying. We'll like you more if you stop trying.
No. I want them to try. I want them... Bad things are always better when they think they're being good.
Oh, that's true.
That's why The Room's the best bad movie ever made, because he believed that was his magnum opus. He believed he was making a masterpiece. He took it dead seriously. So hey, but that is Arrow this week, which I guess leads us on to Young Justice, which we also had. It wasn't on this week, but we obviously are working our way through it. This is season 1, episode 14. It's called Revelation, and so this kind of did a bit of a double swerve on us, where the episode opened with the impression that we were revealing who the Light were. It's like, hey, the Injustice League, and Joker was there, and Ivy was there, and there's but see, I'm getting confused in my head now because there's another team that's revealed at the end, and
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying to
think
distinguish
this
them in my
one
head.
was Ivy, Count Vertigo,
Count Vertigo,
Joker, Black Adam,
Black Adam, that was the other one, yeah.
a couple of others.
Yeah, Wotan, who I'm not as familiar with.
Yeah,
He was the mystical
and
one.
there's Atomic Skull.
Atomic Skull, that's that one. Yeah,
There's
so
one
that's
more,
the
seven, but I can't remember.
that's the interesting. And obviously, Joker's the other big
Yeah.
one. Who, by the way, his voice wasn't really feeling.
No, Brent Spiner, but not feeling it at all.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah, I like Brent
it's
Spiner, his data and whatnot, but
not a great Joker, unfortunately.
no. So that was a shame. And Alyssa Milano was Poison Ivy, which I didn't recognise in the episode. I just when I had the cast list up after, I was like, oh, look at that.
Yeah, it was funny. Steve Bloom was Vertigo, who usually I can pick out of a lineup, no problem, but he was doing the accent, so I didn't get it.
So that is So basically, all the major cities in the planet, like big ivy vines, start taking over buildings and causing chaos and havoc. The Justice League are fighting them and trying to save people. Batman comes to the Titans and says, "Hey, I've got a mission for you. The League is dealing with the vines. Then the video comes on and it's just the Injustice League sort of announcing what they're doing. They want billions of dollars in ransom and whatnot.
I think it was 10 billion. Yeah,
10 billion. Which apparently, if you go to Star City in Arrow, Mayor Queen will hand it right over.
Well, that's the thing. At least they're asking it from the UN. All right, sure, the UN can probably get that. Huge organisation compared to one city.
Assuming all the countries within play ball, yeah.
Well, I mean that's a point. Batman over the comms says, tell the UN to assemble the ransom just in case.
I think in DC's world, Justice League have the clout to make that demand. Hey, prepare it just in case.
They go, look, we're doing our best, but just in case, get it ready.
Yeah, but this was basically the Titans' chance to sort of step up and be because basically the part of the plan kind of hinged on the idea that the villains thought, the Justice League are all busy. They're all doing that. So it had to be the Teen Titans that went in to actually take care of the sort of central control for all these vines, which was basically a big plan that Ivy had set up, which was controlling. There was a satellite that was controlling the rest of them, and Joker had gloves on that was controlling them. That was a bit weird, but
it was a bit weird.
But yeah. But hey, so the team go in, and it's basically a big action episode from that point. There's just a lot of fighting. A lot of it's really fun. Miss Martian and Robin kind of pair off and go and do stuff while the rest are taking on things.
I love that Superboy took the Wolfe along on the mission.
That is pretty fun. I like the little gag that Artemis is like, no, I'm not nearly drowning for the third mission in a row. And she pulls out a little breather, and then she hands Wally one. I'm actually really liking the slow build of them kind of they're again,
terms with each other first, and then
again, I'm not going to do this just for the cheap reference, but it's a very Xander Cordelia,
thing.
But I like that because she hands one to him, and he's like, "Oh, thanks." He puts it on.
He was confused, this is a trap somehow.
Yeah, but I also like that she punched him in the arm 3 times while Batman was talking, because he kept interrupting with stupid questions and just kept hitting him.
Yeah, it was nice.
But hey, so you got all that, you got all them fighting, and they're fighting a variety of villains, of course. Ivy's got the Vines, and you got the other people. Was Ultra Humanite on this team? I think he was.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, because he had his minigun out, and he was
Superboy taking. No, Superboy was on Black Adam, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I was just trying to think.
There was fighting all over the place. There was lots of battles.
It was,
and they're all getting to that, and then eventually they actually take care of the central vine. Joker's not very happy about it, and then because they've destroyed the central thing, the Justice League show up and kind of now there's too many of them and they've got no chance. Joker tries to release some gas, but Batman, of course, is very ready because he's Batman and he's dealt with the Joker before. He knows what he's doing. This is old hat for him at this point.
Except really, it's fate that saves it.
It's fate that saves it and sucks out all the poison Joker toxin, but
all the Joker gas is him.
Yeah, well, sure. Aqualad puts on the Fate helmet, and Fate does a lot of big stuff here. But Batman's the one who immediately knows what's going on, and jumps in and knocks out Joker.
It tells everyone to stop breathing.
I fully believe that had Fate not stepped in and done something, quickly like that, Batman had a plan.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He was about to do something after he punched Joker that was going to deal with it.
I agree with that. Yeah.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it. That's one. And I like that this referenced a bunch of different things that have happened. Obviously, we had references to these villains from the past. We had references to the Artemis drowning from the like 2 episodes in a row. We had references to, you know, the Fate episode, and even like, you know, Kent from inside. He's like, oh, Kent says hi, by the way, Kid Flash. Yeah. You know, just little things like that. Like everything kind of built up, and it was like, okay, so this is all came together, and then they ultimately swerve us at the end of the episode. It's like, nah, those in Justice League, that was just them. They think they've dealt with us now, and in reality, the light is a bunch of other characters we've seen: Lex Luthor, Ra's al Ghul, Vandal Savage. What was the kid from the Fate episode?
Clarion.
There you go. That's the one.
The Brain.
The Brain. Yeah. So we get, it's basically all the well, forgive the pun, the brainy villains for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think, I don't know if this reveal should have been in this episode. I would have liked them to have had an episode or two with the team thinking that you know, like, I know we'll still get the team thinking that, but I would have liked them to have the audience on the team's side for a few episodes before we learn the truth.
I'm conflicted about it, because on the one hand, I agree with the potential of that, and on the other hand, though, because it is such a, oh no, that wasn't the team, here's the real team. We had another twist in is it almost was a bit cheap, and I think putting it in the same episode right after nullifies that a little bit, because it's saying, hey, we're not holding it back and try to play it as a bigger thing. We're saying here, we're immediately telling you they were pawns, just to sort of let the Justice League think they've been beat, and you know, go on their business like that.
That's true. No, that's fair. Again, this one was where I'm really glad, because I thought the Injustice League was a bit underwhelming. Joker was a bit weird. Ivy was pretty solid.
Yeah, it was alright.
The one that I really wasn't a fan of this interpretation of, more than anything, though, is Black Adam. He doesn't say a word, and you know, he just does what he's told.
Yeah,
he seems a bit like mindless, hulking brute rather than Black Adam.
I get that disappointment. I wouldn't say I actually dislike, like, because I feel like he could be in another episode soon, and they'll actually give him stuff to do, and it'll be fine. But he's just kind of non-existent. He's just quiet.
It was just disappointing that he's always just, you know, they go, Black Adam over there, and he just goes, and he just, you know, he's not making any decisions. He's supposed to be a ruler.
That's fair. I'd be curious to see like if we get like more Black Adam later, and like, actually give him like a story, or you know, presumably something maybe with a Marvel family character. I mean, I don't know if any Marvel family characters join the Titans in season 2 or whatever, but
yeah,
it'd be potential. Why not?
I'll be honest, I can't remember all of the season 2 roster, because it expands quite a bit.
Yeah, I imagine it does. Season 3 roster's looking quite pimping.
Is it?
A certain spoiler is on the team.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
No wonder you're happy.
Yeah. Actually, I've been reading the second volume of Cassandra Cain Batgirl.
Oh, I need to get to that at some point.
Yeah, there's an issue with spoiler on it.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, because it got to spoiler, and I went, oh, this is cool, because this is much like early, this is really early spoiler stuff, because this is like back in the early 2000s. This is before like War Games and all that. Which obviously, if you're a Stephanie Brown fan, you'll know why War Games is a big deal. I shall not spoil it, just in case. But no, so yeah, it was a fun episode. It was definitely mostly action for the bulk of it once they got to the villain's base. But
the action's good. It's still consistent in you know, the references back to the older episodes, so that kind of keeps it feeling like, no, even though it's just an action episode, it matters.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's why it works, is because it's not just a standalone episode. It's all action. It's all action that's based upon everything we've been building up to for the last like 10 episodes. So
yeah, and again, this is the first time that they're actively being chosen to go against, you know, real villains, you know, big times.
Yeah. No, it's good in this sense. But I will say, when after they've done the mission, and then Batman's there with the League, and he's like, "Your performance in this mission was," and then he pauses for a long time, and I really thought he was going to say satisfactory. Oh no, that's what he does say. But
that, yeah.
I thought it was going to say something like was acceptable or something like that. Like
well,
I thought it was going to be
the same, doesn't it?
Well, no, because I was expecting something even more neutral. Because satisfactory is at least verging on positive. That's like no, like it was fine.
Satisfactory is it's good enough.
Adequate. That was the specific word I was thinking.
Adequate would be, yeah, because acceptable and satisfactory I feel are pretty similar.
No, that's the word I was thinking of. It was adequate, because the big pause happened, and I thought it was going to be really underwhelming. It was just going to go adequate, as if it was barely and no more. Well, you get my satisfactory, which I think for Batman is...
It's a compliment.
Yeah, that's major praise from Batman.
Yeah, definitely.
So the thing. But no, it was good. I'm looking forward to seeing where the rest of this goes. Obviously, we're just... what was that? I was 14. Yeah, so we're actually just in the start in the second half of the season. So we're in the second half now officially. So I'm curious to see what we do for the rest of the season, and how quickly they learn about the rest of the light. Are they still in Justice League? I don't know. We'll see what they call themselves. Legion of Doom, maybe. Who knows? But that is that. So hey, I guess that brings us to the part of the show where we pick our favourite episode of the week.
We do that. I think for me it's actually a bit easier this week. Supergirl, I had some major problems with. It was good, but hampered my enjoyment. Flash was good, but nowhere near as good as last week's. So Black Lightning, because it's barely faltered. Even though last week I gave it to Flash because I thought that was above and beyond. This week, no. Black Lightning's standard is better than the others.
No, it's getting boring, but I feel like I have to give it to Black Lightning again. I think that's 4 in a row for me because I gave it to Black Lightning last week. Yeah, I'd probably put Supergirl above Flash a bit because I think even if there's faults, I think the core moral debate, which is very Supergirl, I like
fair.
being there.
I'd give that part of the episode, like that side of that plot in general, like that side of it above Flash. But overall, I think I enjoyed watching Flash more.
Okay, and then a few spaces, maybe a canyon, and then Arrow.
Young Justice, and then Arrow.
Well, Young Justice is before the canyon. Young Justice.
Yeah, it is definitely. Young Justice is great. Love this show.
So no, there you go. So I guess that's this week's episode. I think we're on. That was episode 19 or something like that. I don't know what we're on. But that is TV from the Multiverse. So by all means, let us know what you thought of this week's episodes in the comments. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. In fact, you can get us on DC Comics Podcast as well on Twitter for specific DC Comics related tweets and retweets and nonsense.
All the movie and TV news as well.
Yeah,
that to do with the comics.
Yeah. So you can check out all that stuff. If you want to support the show and the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You get bonuses on there. There's a link in the description, of course, if you want to check that out. But otherwise, that's us. So thank you once again for watching. Remember that we do a comics podcast, Comics from the Multiverse. Fairly obvious naming system. The sister show to this that came first. That goes out a day before this one does. It talks about all the DC comics of the week. Well, I say all. The majority. All the ones we're still reading. But hey,
typically a good handful every week.
Yeah, the majority, I'd say. So you can check out that. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Love you loads. Keep watching DC TV and other superhero cape nonsense. And always remember that sometimes we screw things up for the better.